The movie begins with a woman named Caroline, who works as a caretaker in an old age home. She shares a deep emotional bond with one of the elderly men there, caring for him as if he were her own father. But one day, that man passes away, leaving Caroline heartbroken. After this loss, she loses interest in her job and decides to move on, taking up work as a private caretaker. As she travels to her new job, she stops at a strange fuel station along the way. The place feels unsettling. The store is built like an old house, and strange symbols made with red powder are marked outside. Caroline notices these odd details but brushes them off and continues her journey. She finally arrives at a massive, isolated house where she is supposed to work. Despite its size, only 2 people live there, Violet and her husband Benjamin. Benjamin is completely paralyzed, and Caroline has been hired to take care of him. Violet explains that they bought this house some time ago, but no one has been willing to work there for long. However, she avoids revealing the real reason, afraid that Caroline might leave as well. Violet gives Caroline a master key that can open every door in the house. But soon, Caroline notices something strange. There are no mirrors anywhere in the house. When she asks about it, Violet gives a vague and unusual explanation, claiming they simply never needed them. Days pass and Caroline continues her work diligently. One day, while tending to the garden with Benjamin, Violet asks her to fetch something from the attic. Up there, Caroline discovers a hidden door, but when she tries to open it using the master key, it doesn't work. Confused, she tells Violet about it. Violet claims they have tried opening that door many times, but were never able to. Caroline decides to ignore it and continues her routine. But one night, during a violent storm, she is awakened by a strange noise. The sound seems to be coming from Benjamin's room. When she rushes in, she is shocked to find that Benjamin is missing from both his bed and wheelchair. Despite being paralyzed, he somehow managed to move. Moments later, Caroline hears noises outside. When she looks through the window, she sees Benjamin on the roof trying to escape. Struggling to balance himself, he suddenly falls down. Caroline and Violet rush outside to help him. Violet asks Caroline to bring the wheelchair quickly. When Caroline enters Benjamin's room, she sees something horrifying. The words, "Help me," are written in large black letters on the bedsheet. Shocked and confused, she realizes something is terribly wrong. But she doesn't tell Violet. Instead, she hides the bedsheet and brings the wheelchair outside. The next morning, the house's lawyer visits. Caroline already knows him, as he was the one who got her this job. She takes him aside, wanting to share everything that has been happening. She shows him the bedsheet as proof, but when they look at it, the words are gone. There is nothing written on it anymore. Caroline is left speechless, unable to explain anything. The lawyer assumes she is stressed and leaves, giving her his card in case she needs help. Now, even more disturbed, Caroline starts connecting all the strange events. The locked door, Benjamin's condition, the disappearing message. Everything points towards something unnatural. She becomes convinced that the hidden attic room holds the truth. Determined to find out, she takes a flashlight and returns to the attic. This time, she notices that the keyhole has been blocked with wax. After removing it, she uses the master key again, and finally, the door opens. Inside, she finds a terrifying collection of objects. There are jars containing skulls, preserved remains, disturbing photographs, and various items that clearly indicate dark rituals. Caroline realizes that this is connected to black magic. At that moment, Violet enters the attic, calling out for her. Terrified, Caroline hides. It becomes clear that Violet has seen her, but she chooses to act as if nothing happened and quietly leaves. Caroline also finds a recording related to these rituals and takes it with her. That night, she meets a friend who has knowledge about such things. She explains everything and asks for help. Her friend tells her that this is not ordinary black magic, but something known as hoodoo, an ancient practice once used for protection and benefit, but now largely forgotten and feared. Now, everything starts to make sense to Caroline. She realizes that Violet is somehow connected to all of this. Even the absence of mirrors in the house begins to feel intentional. To test her suspicion, Caroline brings a mirror into the house. And just as she expected, Violet reacts with visible anger the moment she sees it, confirming that something dark is indeed hidden within those walls. When Caroline questions Violet about her strange reaction to the mirror, Violet finally stops hiding the truth. She reveals that the house is not normal, it is haunted. She explains that the previous owners had a servant couple who practiced hoodoo magic, and all the disturbing objects Caroline saw in the attic belonged to them. According to Violet, when the family discovered that the couple was using hoodoo magic on their children, they locked them in the attic and burned them alive. But after their deaths, something changed. One by one, the members of that family began to die mysteriously, leaving behind only 2 children who had once been subjected to the magic. Those children lived in the house for years before eventually selling it to Violet and her husband. Violet further explains that whenever a mirror is placed in the house, the reflection reveals the shadow of that burned couple. That is why there are no mirrors inside. She also mentions that people who had visited earlier had advised her on ways to protect the house from negative energy. One such method involved using a special red soil, which could repel evil forces when used properly. Hearing this, Caroline remembers seeing the same kind of red powder outside the strange fuel station on her way here. But Violet doesn't stop there. She reveals something even more shocking. She tells Caroline that Benjamin is not truly paralyzed. Instead, the negative energy and hoodoo influence in the house have affected his mind so deeply that he believes he is paralyzed, even though he is not. Caroline, who had come to care for Benjamin using modern methods, now begins to think differently. She decides to try an unconventional approach. She seeks out a hoodoo expert, explains everything about the house, and collects items and instructions to perform a ritual that might help Benjamin. That night, she performs the ritual on Benjamin. To her shock, it works. For the first time, Benjamin begins to speak. But instead of talking about fear of spirits, he says something unexpected. He pleads with Caroline to save him from his own wife, Violet. Just then, Violet enters the room, pretending to be concerned and caring. Caroline and Benjamin remain silent, hiding what just happened. Fortunately, Caroline had already hidden the hoodoo items, so Violet finds nothing suspicious. The next day, determined to uncover the truth, Caroline goes to meet the lawyer who had given her the job. She tells him everything about the attic, the rituals, Benjamin's condition, and how he begged her to save him from Violet. But the lawyer finds it hard to believe her. To prove her point, Caroline takes him to the fuel station where she had seen the red dust markings. She believes it is connected to hoodoo magic and that someone there might confirm her suspicions. Inside, they meet an old woman who seems deeply familiar with such practices. When Caroline asks her about hoodoo magic, the woman explains that the red line outside is a boundary used by practitioners. Those who perform hoodoo magic cannot cross such lines. Caroline then asks why people use this magic. The old woman reveals a terrifying truth. While hoodoo is sometimes used for personal gain, its most dangerous use is for immortality. She explains that practitioners can transfer their soul into another, younger body. Each time they grow old, they repeat the ritual, abandoning their old body and taking over a new one. The soul of the person whose body is taken gets trapped and dies in the old body, while the practitioner continues living on. Hearing this, Caroline finally connects everything. She realizes that Violet is planning something similar. Without wasting any time, she rushes back to the mansion with the lawyer. Using the red dust she collected, she spreads it around the house. She notices that Violet is unable to cross or remove it, confirming her fears. Taking advantage of this, Caroline tries to take Benjamin out of the house to save him. But Violet acts quickly and locks the entire house from the inside. Caroline is trapped. Desperate, she places Benjamin safely in a room and begins searching for the key. As she moves through the house, she starts hearing strange chanting sounds. She recognizes them as the same ritual chants the hoodoo expert had warned her about. Following the sound, she reaches the record room where the ritual is being carried out. There, she discovers something horrifying. Among the objects, she finds her own photographs, along with a picture of the lawyer and even her personal belongings. At that moment, the truth hits her, the biggest twist of all. The hoodoo ritual was not meant for Benjamin, it was meant for her. She realizes that the lawyer was never on her side. He had been working with Violet all along. Bringing her to this house, giving her the job, everything was part of a carefully planned trap to make her the next victim. These people had been planning all along to perform hoodoo magic on Caroline and transfer Violet's soul into her body. Before Caroline could fully understand the truth and escape, she is suddenly attacked from behind. The lawyer arrives and grabs her by the throat, and together they drag her to the ritual room where the ceremony is meant to take place. Desperate to survive, Caroline fights back. During the struggle, she pushes Violet down the stairs, badly injuring her leg. Taking advantage of the moment, Caroline rushes upstairs into the hoodoo ritual room. She quickly calls 911, telling them that two people are trying to perform a ritual on her and take over her body. To protect herself, she spreads the red dust she brought from the fuel station around her and begins chanting the mantra she had learned. She believes that this will shield her from the evil. For a brief moment, she feels safe. But suddenly, Violet begins laughing. Her laughter grows louder and more terrifying. She reveals the horrifying truth. The mantra Caroline is chanting is not meant to protect her. It is actually part of the ritual designed to trap her. By reciting it, Caroline has unknowingly helped them complete their plan. Even the red dust she spread is not protecting her. Instead, it is aiding the ritual, making everything easier for them. Then Violet places a mirror in front of Caroline. Inside the reflection, Caroline sees multiple figures, souls of people who had once been victims of hoodoo magic. Among them is the same old woman who was believed to have died long ago. But the truth is revealed. She never truly died. She had been transferring her soul from one body to another all this time. Suddenly, that spirit enters Caroline's body. At the same moment, the souls inside Violet and Caroline begin to shift. Their souls exchange bodies. The candles around them extinguish instantly, signaling that the ritual is complete. Now, Violet stands inside Caroline's young body, satisfied and victorious. Meanwhile, the real Caroline is trapped inside Violet's old, injured body. To ensure she can never escape, Violet forces her to drink a strange liquid, leaving her paralyzed, just like Benjamin once was. Soon after, the lawyer returns. But another shocking truth is revealed. The lawyer is not who he appears to be. He is actually Benjamin, who had long ago transferred his soul into the lawyer's body. Both of them had been working together all along. They celebrate their success. Once again, they have obtained young bodies and secured many more years of life. It is revealed that they are the same servant couple who once lived in this house, the very ones who were believed to have been burned to death. Standing over Caroline's helpless body, they mock her. They tell her that she will never be able to prove the truth to anyone. Everything that happened was part of their plan. They manipulated her into learning about hoodoo magic, knowing that it only works on those who truly believe in it. By researching and believing in it herself, Caroline unknowingly made their task easier. Just then, the sound of vehicles is heard outside. The police and Caroline's friend have arrived to help her. Her friend senses that something is wrong, but she cannot explain it. She looks at Caroline, unaware that the real Caroline is no longer in control of her body. Helpless and trapped, the real Caroline lies there in the old body, unable to speak or move, watching everything unfold with silent desperation. The lawyer then calmly tells Caroline's friend that everything is fine and that Caroline will now be living in the house with him. Confused and uncertain, her friend has no choice but to leave. In the final moments, we see the real Caroline and the real lawyer, both trapped in their old, lifeless bodies, staring at each other. They are powerless, unable to do anything but witness the end of their own lives, as the movie fades out on this chilling and tragic note.